Test, test. Green. Testing. Brad, we're ready to start.
Live.
Okay, we're going to call the meeting to order of the CDBG committee.
Call to order 4 o'clock. Roll call. Chairperson Robin Espinal.
Here.
Committee member Andrew Rubio. Here. Committee member Rebecca Monk.
Here.
Committee member Stephanie Wells.
Here.
Committee member Lisa Nicely.
Present.
Staff member Liz Chavez.
Here.
And staff member Lizette Avalos here. Next on the agenda, we're going to do oral communication. This is a time for any citizen to comment on any item listed on or not listed on the agenda. Anyone wishing to address the committee is requested to submit a speaker card to staff or prior to speaking. The speakers are requested to keep their comments to no more than 3 minutes. Next on the agenda is old business. We have none. Next item is new business. We're going to address all the different items for the CDBG fiscal year 22-23. If you could please look at your table of contents, please. The first tab, you're going to see the CDBG budget. That is a snapshot of the 5 years from 2017 to current of what is going to be recommended. Do you guys have any questions? On our next, from 1A to 1C, we actually see what has been drawn in the first quarter and the second quarter of this year for CDBG programs, for CDBG CV1 programs, and CDBG CV3 programs. Does anybody have any questions? Okay. Good. On tab number 2, we're looking at our goals for this year. On our consolidated plan for the 4 years, for the 5 years is 2020 to 2024. You see the gold amounts. On the second quarter of this year, we have our estimated amounts that we've had so far. On the first one, on the goal 21-22, is actually what has been that each applicant applied for, and that's on the second quarter. You've seen how much they've actually done so far. On the next tab, you're going to see that we have not, or still our CAPER is through our draft, it's not finalized yet. We did turn it in on time, it's still in the review process. We're going to go into the next tab, which is, we're going to look at that memo. Did everybody have an opportunity to read the memo? On the CDBG CV3 unexpected funds reallocation, we will need a vote for this one. The memo is illustrating that for CDBG CV3 funds for the Upland Small Business Support Rent Recovery Program, we actually were able to assist applicants, and we had a remaining balance of $58,651.72. We were able to assist 24 businesses. In that conclusion, we also have monies through CDBG CV1 to do the Parklet program. We are requesting to move those $58,651.72 to the Parklet program. That way we're able to complete that project. Do we have a vote? A motion?
Ask a question first?
Yes, of course.
Were there any other projects up for discussion with the remaining funds?
We did review other projects. Right now, this is the one that is needing these funds to complete the parklets. Everything else that we've had through CDBG has the amount to be able to complete those programs or projects.
And this was a project previously approved?
Correct. In the original CV1 round, this was $60,000 that went into the Parklet program. It is getting additional funds from the ARPA funds, but it's not going to be enough because of the type of design work that we want done on the cement with the stamp of one of our packing house labels. We want to have that on the ground to identify each of the areas where the parklets are going to be located at. And we've heard from the design group that that's going to be an expensive part. But we feel that that's important so that it gives an identification and it gives it a special feel. And it'll give it a really nice look. I think we gave you some samples of what it might look like. Now, those aren't the labels we're going to be utilizing, but that's what essentially that's what the label will look like on the cement. Also, the public services that were funded through CV1 and CV3, we've had spoken to those public service agents, and they are saying that they're actually winding down, and it's not, they really don't need the funding, the additional funding at this time, because they're not seeing the COVID cases like once before, like they were last year when we were providing them with the funding source.
Thanks. You need a motion to make that.
So, yes,
Go ahead.
yes.
So I know that we approved $60,000 for a parklet 2019 or 2020? Oh, 2020, I believe. I actually haven't seen that one go in.
So the location of the parklets were changed. So the council didn't want the one parklet that was going to be near the urban trail. They wanted to move it to the inner streets of 9th and 2nd in downtown. So there's going to be 8 locations of parklets within the parking area already. So as it was explained, I believe we're going to lose 2 parking spaces in order to create the 8 locations where the parklets are going in. So that 60,000 is going to be part of a bigger program now.
Any other questions? Okay, would anyone like to make a motion to transfer? That's what you want?
Yes.
Reallocate that, the funds?
Yes, please.
Sure.
I make a motion to reallocate the amount of $58,651.72 from the downtown to the Downtown Upland Parklet Program.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
I second the motion.
Do you need a roll call vote?
All in favor?
Oh, you don't need it by name, just all in favor? Aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Okay, unanimous.
Thank you. Okay, now we're going to go into our charts for this year for the funding for the recommendation for 22-23. You'll see on your chart is what the amount that the applicants requested. And attached in the back will be each application, but this is a summary of actually what the program description is and actually what the use of funds they have applied for and the amount that they have requested. The first one is Foothill Family Shelter. They are a stepping stone housing program. They're a shelter that supports, and they have intense case management. They do 120 days of shelter, then they transition into the intense case management that they do weekly. They're requesting the funds to be for personnel, and they have requested for $15,000. The next one is for Inland Valley Hope Partners. They're actually a food program. They provide non-perishable items for 5 days for each recipient that goes in there. They're requesting the funds for personnel and supplies for food items. They requested $10,000. The next one is Pacific Lifeline. They're actually a women's shelter program. They also do long-term housing and support services for the recipients that attend. They're requesting funds for personnel, $8,000. The next applicant is St. Joseph's. They applied through their food pantry program. They provide non-perishable items. They also provide personal hygiene items, blankets, and they're requesting $18,000 completely to go for the non-personnel items. The next applicant is Catholic Charities. Through their project name is Upland Community Resource Center. They provide direct services for motel vouchers, utility assistance, and they're requesting all their funds to go into non-personnel program direct services to the clients. They requested $50,000. Next applicant is Easter Seal, Southern California. They're a new applicant. Their project name is Diagnostic Centers. They do an evaluation of several areas of the functioning to determine if autistic spectrum disorder is indicated. They're requesting the use of funds for personnel costs and non-personnel supplies as their testing. They requested $30,000. Those were the public service applicants. A total requested was $131,000. On the next page, you'll see our budget allocation. We have not received how much we're going to receive for this year, and we're not going to receive that amount till probably May. Right now, we're forecasting to have the same amount of $675,248. For public service allocation, the maximum is 15%, which is $101,287. The next section is for the admin cost. Through the admin cost, Inland Fair Housing Mediation Board applies. They apply for 2 different programs, Fair Housing. Fair Housing is actual direct education, enforcement, and administrative services. They are using the funds for personnel supplies, utilities, and other costs. They requested $28,000. The second program through Inland Fair Housing Mediation Board is through their landlord-tenant mediation. They do take phone intakes to do conflict resolution and education between the landlord and the tenants. They're requesting these use of funds for personnel, supplies, and other costs. They requested $21,000. The next section is our capital improvement applicants. The first one is through Public Works Department. This is for the Landesina interior project. This is the second phase. The first one, when they applied, they did interior painting and some flooring. They're going to actually finish the project. They're requesting the funds to complete the flooring and to do on the main areas, office flooring, it will be carpeting and interior paint. They're using the funds to do personnel, capital improvement costs, and consultant services. They're requesting $166,000. Next project is through the Public Works Department, is the downtown parking lot improvements. This project description is for repair, replacement of deteriorated parking infrastructure, increase public parking spaces, and improve ADA access. The use of funds will be for personnel, capital improvement costs, and consultant services. They requested $223,151. The next project would be through our Development Services Department, through our Emergency Repair Program, and this is through our rehab program that assists all emergencies through code enforcement or issues that homeowners need on an urgent basis, broken pipes, health and safety items, and these use of funds are for capital improvement costs and consultant services. They requested $60,000. The only one that we have, all of these applicants go through an eligibility review. The one that we had a question about was through the downtown parking lot improvements. And even though they requested $223,151 to actually complete the project through the eligibility review process, this project has to go through slum and blight, and there is a cap of 30%, which would be, we cannot fund them more than $162,000. 162 with 59 with 70 cents. Sure. 162,059 with 70 cents.
So basically what that means is if you do provide the funding for that parking lot in the amount of $162,5975, that the remaining money, you would have to make a determination, either it goes to the Landesina Interior Project or the Emergency Repair Program. But we believe that the funding that that the Public Works put together for the Landesina, that 166 is adequate to and appropriate to complete their project. So we would probably recommend as staff that the remaining funds go into the Emergency Repair Program.
Does anybody have any questions?
Can you tell us, I think it was on maybe some of the financial charts, but it depends on how up-to-date those were, maybe through the second quarter. where these organizations are on spending the last funding that they received?
For Foothill Family Shelter, they are on target. They have been spending their money. They've been meeting their goal. Inland Valley Hope Partners, through their food security program, they're actually had got some funds through CV money, but this is their time applying for CDBG. For Pacific Lifeline, they have applied, they're returning, and they're on target as well. St. Joseph's, they do extremely well. They always meet their goal. They actually exceed their goal every year to provide food to the community. Catholic Charities, they receive funds through CDBG CV money, and right now they're allocating those funds, and then they'll be moving to CDBG money. So they're not there yet on target, but they inform me that by this third quarter, that will be submitted in the second week of April, they should be able to have some expenditures. Easter Seals is a new applicant. In Inland Fair Housing, they do have met their goal. They are requesting a little bit more than last year. Last year, they got funded for $26,000 for the fair housing, Inland Fair, and for the landlord tenant, they received $19,500. Their goals this year have dropped a little bit from last year.
Can you, on the Fair Housing, Inland Fair Housing Board, the 28 and the 21,
Yes.
if they were not to receive those allocations, would the remainder that would go to administrative costs go back to the city? So your $86,000 right now is basically, I'll call it a plug number, or okay. Yes. Thank you.
Yes.
Other questions? A lot.
Do we have a recommendation? Should we go down for each one?
Do you need that today, or you wait until after they do their presentations next week?
Okay. Okay, and all the applications are on each tab if you would like to go over them in more detail, but that was just a brief overview of actually all the applicants, and they'll be presenting next week.
And we're 4 o'clock next Tuesday, same room?
Same room, same time, yes.
Okay, did you go through everything that you wanted? Maybe,
Yes.
maybe there's some detailed questions. That was a lot of information in 20 minutes. Can you just answer about the CARES Act money that was given? How long do they have to spend all of that?
They're on target. All our CV1 money has been, they've all met their goals, they've all spent their money. They actually have 6 years, so they've done good. Just went to a training.
Yeah, so all the CV funds actually have until September of 2026 to be expended, but currently, right now, we're very fortunate that our applicants know how to spend that money, and so I think a large majority of the funds will be actually spent by June 30th of this year.
Thanks. And the Easter Seals is a new applicant. Do other cities provide funding to them? I didn't read their presentation yet, sorry.
I know they applied for at the city of Irvine, but they haven't got funded yet. That I know of, they've applied there and they applied with us.
Great. Any other questions? This has got to be a record. Okay, well, if nothing else, then do we need a motion to adjourn, or just we can adjourn?
Just
Okay, all right, we'll adjourn at 4:20. Thank you.
Thank you. Brad, the meeting has adjourned. Thank you.